G'day, Sean here, and this is the Alexa 35 Extreme, which is capable of reaching the fastest ever frame rate ever offered in an ARRI camera at 660 frames per second. Plus, it's got a brand new codec called ARRI Core, so let's get into the details. The Alexa 35 Extreme will be available as both a brand new camera and as an upgrade, available for all existing Alexa 35s on the market today. And both brand new cameras and the upgrade will be available starting tomorrow, the 1st of August. Now, the Alexa 35 Extreme, of course, retains all of those incredible image quality improvements that we introduced with the Alexa 35. So we still have the industry-leading 17 stops of dynamic range, and we have beautiful skin tones and that natural and accurate color science in Reveal. Plus, we have a dedicated low-light shooting mode called Enhanced Sensitivity, and that uniquely creative feature of ARRI textures. Of course, you get the legendary ARRI reliability and robustness, as well as a camera with the widest operating temperature range of any camera on the market, and I'm happy to announce that actually all accessories offered for the Alexa 35 will all work with the Alexa 35 Extreme. So what's new? Well, it's all in the back end. The Alexa 35 Extreme has a much faster processor with more memory, which allows us to do things such as access those incredibly high frame rates, just like the 660 frames per second that you can achieve in the Super 16 2K recording format with sensor overdrive. And more information on all of that in just a minute. The new processing and the memory allows us to also use our brand new codec called ARRI Core, which has about half the data rate of ARRI Raw. And in addition to that, we have a couple of other features such as about 10% less power consumption with an Alexa 35 Extreme compared to the Alexa 35. And we have better Wi-Fi performance with 5 GHz capability as well as mesh network support. And we have some of the longest pre-recording times of any camera on the market. That's up to 5 minutes of pre-recording in some cases, which of course is very useful for slow-mo, but also for natural history cinematography. And all of the details can be found at arri.com/Alexa35 Extreme. But first off, let's start with probably the most extreme feature, and that is our new high-speed frame rates. The Alexa 35 Extreme is capable of some much higher frame rates than were ever possible with the Alexa 35, and I'm going to give you just a couple of examples. If we take the very popular 4.6K open-gate format, on the Alexa 35 we could achieve 75 frames per second, and that's been bumped up to 120 frames per second with the Alexa 35 Extreme. If we take a 3.8K or UHD 16:9 sensor mode, previously we could reach 120 frames per second, and now we can reach 150 frames per second with the Alexa 35 Extreme. We've introduced a new sensor format, which is a 3.8K 2.39:1, so basically UHD width with that CinemaScope aspect ratio, and we can hit 240 frames per second with the Alexa 35 Extreme. And lastly, the surprisingly popular Super 16 recording mode on the Alexa 35 could achieve 120 frames per second, and now it reaches a pretty astonishing 330 frames per second. Now, all of the maximum frame rates that I've just mentioned are available in both ProRes and in ARRI Core, but ARRI Raw also sees a bunch of speed bumps, and you can see all of the details in our recording formats guide at arri.com/Alexa35 Extreme. But that's not all, because we also have sensor overdrive. With the Alexa 35 Extreme, we're introducing a brand new and unique feature which we've called Sensor Overdrive. And Sensor Overdrive, which you can turn on or off in any recording format, allows you to drastically increase the maximum frame rate that the camera can achieve, with the trade-off of losing some stops of dynamic range. So to give you an example of those new frame rates, if we take 4.6K open gate, you can achieve 120 frames per second with the full dynamic range of the Alexa 35 Extreme. And if you turn sensor overdrive on, that will be bumped up to 165 frames per second. Similarly, if you look at the 3.8K 16:9 or UHD sensor mode, then you can go from 150 frames per second up to 240 frames per second with sensor overdrive turned on. And in that Super 16 2K recording format, we can go from 330 frames per second up to 660 frames per second, which is the fastest frame rate available in the Alexa 35 Extreme, or actually any ARRI camera ever for that matter. Now, like any other high-performance machine, the Alexa 35 Extreme with sensor overdrive turned on requires a little bit of extra care and attention, as your dynamic range will be reduced from 17 stops to 11 stops. Your native ISO of the camera will go up from 800 to 1600, but crucially, the color science will remain the same. So this might be a great option for projects where you need 1 or 2 high-speed shots mixed in amongst other Alexa 35 footage. Your colorist will have a much easier time matching sensor overdrive material with footage that you've regularly shot with an Alexa 35 Extreme. Now, sensor overdrive is only available for frame rates that you cannot achieve with the full dynamic range of the camera, and we will be publishing a guide on our best practices for using this format. But as you can see, the image quality available with the Alexa 35 Extreme in sensor overdrive mode is pretty remarkable, and especially if you're a DP able to work with more controlled lighting conditions. All right. Let's touch on ARRI Core. ARRI Core is the first new codec from ARRI in a really long time, and it's pretty special. It's an RGB codec, so it's not RAW, but you can still change your white balance and your exposure index, or ISO, in post-production. It's a compressed codec, so it's got about half the data rate of ARRI RAW, but we're using an all-new method for compression, which we believe offers the best possible image quality in a 13-bit MXF file. ARRI Core is built for the future, and it's definitely one of the reasons that we can achieve the highest possible frame rates with the Alexa 35 Extreme. So for example, sensor overdrive will only be available if you're shooting with the new ARRI Core codec. You can record in ARRI Core to any existing 1TB or 2TB codecs compact drive, and here is an example of a comparable data rate between ARRI Core and other recording formats available in the Alexa 35 Extreme. And here's that same information instead expressed as minutes, or duration, that you can record to one 2TB codecs compact drive at 24 frames per second in 4.6K OpenGate. Now, the benefits of ARRI Core don't just stop at the back of the camera body, they continue into post-production as well, with significantly reduced offload times compared to an ARRI RAW and HDE workflow. With ARRI Core, we can also continually bring image quality improvements to footage that has already been shot by updating the decoder that is available, of course, in the ARRI reference tool, but that is also used by all of the third-party software tools on the market for playback and processing of ARRI Core. And that's a process that's already been going along for the last, say, 15 or 20 years with ARRI RAW. Now, speaking of third-party software tools, we will be updating a list on the website so you can see exactly what version of what software tool already supports ARRI Core, and the ARRI reference tool is available today if you need to play back ARRI Core footage in the next few weeks before those other major players finish the work that they have already started on supporting ARRI Core. Now, in the Alexa 35 Extreme, we now have 3 different formats that you can record in. We have ARRI RAW, we have ARRI Core, and we have ProRes. And if I could sum up just the benefits of the 3 discrete formats, I would do it as follows. With ARRI RAW, well, you have the best image quality in the business and basically the industry standard for the highest level of production. It's completely uncompressed and it's unencrypted. With the new ARRI Core format, you have superb image quality at a lot lower data rate than you do with ARRI RAW, and you're able to achieve the highest possible frame rates on the Alexa 35 Extreme. And then, of course, with Apple ProRes, you have one of the most widely accepted codecs on the market and still excellent image quality in 12-bit with the Alexa 35 Extreme. Now, let's talk about how you can get one. So I guess the two big questions left are how much and how do I get one? Well, if you are interested in purchasing a brand new Alexa 35 Extreme, we will be opening orders tomorrow, the 1st of August, and we have stock. So we'll be shipping to our subsidiaries, to our dealers, and to those first customers tomorrow as well. The Alexa 35 Extreme will be available in the same sets that the outgoing Alexa 35 already was, at the same price. And we will continue to offer both a base model camera with individual licensed upgrade options or a fully fledged premium model camera that has everything already included. If you already own an Alexa 35 and you're interested in upgrading that camera to become an Alexa 35 Extreme, then please get in touch with Ari's service via our contact form on the website and we will find a slot to book you in for the upgrade. The upgrade will cost 15,900 euros and there will be no difference in functionality between an Alexa 35 Extreme sold as a new camera and an upgraded Alexa 35 that becomes an Extreme camera. Now, I have to stress that the upgrade process is not a simple one. It's probably going to take us about a week per camera, as the camera has to be completely teared apart. We're going to replace a whole bunch of very integral components, including boards and the cooling core. And then, of course, we will be recalibrating and recertifying the camera to make sure that it's every bit as robust and reliable as your camera has been since you already owned it. Now, I'm sure there will be lots more questions. For starters, please go and check out the website and our other show reels, and maybe even that guide on using sensor overdrive that I mentioned. If you have any particular questions, you can of course reach out to the digital workflow group or just chuck them in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching until the end of the video. I always really appreciate it, and I'm looking forward to some really cool high-speed footage and some curly questions, of course. So again, please throw them down below. We'll see you in the next one. Hooroo!